Good evening, everybody. We're going to get started here in just about 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Millsap High School's virtual parent meeting. My name is Deanne Lee, and I have the absolute privilege of being the superintendent in the best community anywhere. I want to thank you for the engagement that I see in Millsap right now, because it shows that we are all unified in one common goal, and that is what's best for your child. Now, sometimes we differ on what best is, but we are united in all of us working together as partners, because we know that our mission is to fulfill your child's dreams. And that's our mission every single day. We also in Millsap are partnering together to be the premier education organization, and we do value ethical behavior and personal integrity. So we have been working together all summer long to put together a plan that we can, even if we don't agree 100% on every single point, that we are working together to be able to continue to nurture and grow the whole child. That's your child. Right now, I would like you to hear a special message from our board. We are blessed with the best board anywhere. And I can tell you, as I talk to them almost every day, especially right now, they put personal opinion aside and they make the decisions that are best for every child and for our staff. So please join me in hearing this message.
I apologize, a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're coming up.
Hello, I'm Herbal, and I'm privileged to be the school board president for the Millsap ISD Board of Trustees. I'm in my 21st year of service on the board, As we embark in this year, there will be unprecedented challenges for students, teachers, and parents. We on the board would like to share a message with you from our heart about our community, that it is a blessing to be part of the Millsap community, and it is a privilege to be part of this district on the board and as a parent. It's humbling that together with you, we are shaping the future of your students.
It is the board's desire that each student be successful in the short term, but especially in the long run. We know all parents hope for the best for their children as well. In the end, success of each student may look slightly different. College degrees, military service, proficiency in technical skills, a full-time parenting are all noble pursuits. The path of each pursuit will have distinct differences.
As Mr. Burton just indicated, we understand that these noble pursuits will have some very unique differences, but we also believe that these noble pursuits require many of the same virtues: integrity, hard work, dedication, perseverance, self-control, discipline, compassion, respect for others. For this reason, the very first Millsap district value is that we value the development of the whole child.
Of course, we all enjoy winning in athletic contests, the performing arts, and academic achievements. But if a Millsap graduate does not exhibit the core virtues mentioned above, we are concerned that they are not truly prepared for a successful life. Stated another way, we would prefer that our athletic teams lose with integrity than to win by cheating or behaving dishonorably. Don't misunderstand. We aim to train our athletes, artists, and students to win, but the training must be founded upon the core virtues. The board recognizes it is impossible for a public school system to impart these virtues to students alone.
For this reason, the district's second value emphasizes the partnership between the school district and parents/community. The board believes that parents are the primary teacher, mentor, role model for their children. While the district can and should bring valuable academic expertise to the partnership, we as parents will always retain ultimate responsibility for our child's preparation for a successful life. As partners, it is super important that we always remember we are on the same team, striving for the same goal, preparing our children for a successful life.
As a proud parent and a board member, to have an effective partnership, it is critical that the partners accept the responsibility for their share of the burden and that they commit to work diligently to achieve the common goal. It is highly likely somewhere along the journey the partners will encounter a challenge that may lead to the partners viewing an issue from the different perspectives. It is essential that the partners treat each other with respect at all times, especially when the difference of perspectives arrive and create the possibility of a conflict. Another key component of a successful partnership is accountability. If the school district is not living up to its responsibility, for every student, parents have the right to raise that red flag in a respectful manner to ensure the district is held responsible to remedy the shortfall.
Likewise, if parents are not living up to their responsibilities, it is the student's overall best interest that the district raise the red flag in a respectful manner and help the parent understand that the district cannot and should not perform the parent's responsibilities. As has been mentioned several times, acceptance of properly divided responsibilities and respectful treatment of all partnership participants is vital to achieving the common goal. Based upon these principles, the board will never ask a parent to be subject to disrespect by a district staff member. That will not be tolerated. Similarly, the board will never ask a staff member to be subject to disrespect by a parent or student. That will not be tolerated. Please remember, character development of our children is paramount. Same team, same goal. The school and parents have different but equally important responsibilities in achieving the goal. Be respectful. Together, we can prepare our children for success.
I hope you can see the commitment of our board to all students and to the whole community. And right now, as we committed as a district to you, to support you and help this year, even if your child is learning at home remotely, that we want to help really give you some training and some inside information that will make the entire year go smoother. And so right now, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Edie Martin, is going to share some opportunities with you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. So I do look forward to sharing with you today. As Ms. Lee said, we are a district with great support. You can tell by our board and our superintendent and the many parents that support our district, we're a strong district. And I'm proud to be the assistant superintendent at Millsap ISD, but I am just as proud to be a parent of a student at Millsap High School. So just like you guys today, as a parent, I understand the need and the desire to know exactly what's going on so my family can make the best decision for our daughter. That's what we're going to try to provide you tonight. As a district, we feel it's our responsibility to show you everything that we know so you'll feel fully informed and you can make a quality decision. These are difficult times, there's no doubt. But we really feel that together, as we work together to resolve the issues, that we can do what's best for all students and help them achieve their highest standard. In that, let me take you real quickly to our website. I'd like to be able to show you what we have in store. There's a lot of people that's been working very hard on this, so let me show you what we have. You'll notice first, this is a parent information and tutorial site, and it will be released tonight at 9 p.m. So after the meeting tonight, this will be released. This is basically a resource field with information for you. It's actually going to be updated on a regular basis. Just like our situation with the health crisis is fluid, so is our website going to be. So please let us know when you look at this. Let us know what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what other information you may need, and we will certainly keep this up to date. Today, what we have is we have students who will be learning in person, meaning at school, and we also have students who will be learning at home. And so we have icons that represent each. And as you scroll down, we have a list of resources, and the little icons beside the resources show who these are appropriate for. Now, this specific site was designed for parents, but students are more than welcome to look through this information. We are currently in the process of building a similar site specifically for students, and we're also building teacher supports along the way. My role here, one of my roles, is to help make everyone successful. So I hope this serves you in that capacity. When you look through this evening, when it's released publicly, you're going to see that this year we have Chromebook tips and overview. That's because each student in Millsap ISD will receive a Chromebook specifically checked out to them. They can take that home each night and are asked to bring it back each morning. So these are tips on how to care for your Chromebook. They're appropriate for in-person and at-home learners. And notice when this is released, you can click on the link to see a video on this. Also, we are proud to say we have learning management systems. This is a digital site that will host all of our instructional tools. We have one for Canvas. This is the one that would cover the high school students, grades 7 through 12. You can click on this and learn more about Google Classroom. Our common expectations are coming soon. We know it's very important that parents, students, teachers, administrators, that all of us know what we can do to contribute to the success of the students. And so we are currently in the process of working with stakeholders to develop those. Those will be posted soon. As you come on down, there's a few other things. The single sign-on, you'll be hearing more about that. That is a wonderful, if you will, one-stop shop, where last year we know we had a lot of resources, but these resources now will be all in one place. So you can sign on and access everything at once. We've had a whole lot of questions about student attendance. If I'm a remote learner, what are the attendance expectations from the district and the state? So this specifically is for at-home learners or remote learners, and here's some information for you there. Like I shared before, this is a fluid site. It is important today, but it's going to become more and more important as we see what issues arise and what we need to conquer together. So please continue to contribute your insight and questions to the help hotline and questions corners. Those are specifically the same supports we had last year. They came off very well, and they will continue to be serviced this year. Before I go off the website, I would like to encourage you, if you have not yet registered, please do that. We look forward to our students coming back. And notice I'm on the Millsap ISD homepage. If you have not registered, just go to the Millsap ISD homepage. At the left-hand side, it says quick links, and you can click on online registration. And it will take you to our new online registration page. If you're a new student, you can simply click right here and you can register. And if you're a returning student, you can click here. If you need a little help, we do have an instructional video as well as contacts where you can reach live people for help. I am going to take just a moment to unshare my screen. And I want to reiterate again that even though our hearts are heavy for our students and our parents, no doubt, our staff, our nation, that we all, and I'm going to speak for the teachers and the parents and the administrators, we're all thankful to be in Millsap. I've heard that so many times that I wouldn't be anywhere else, and I completely agree with that. And it's through this love for one another that we're going to overcome these barriers. So let me again reiterate as I end, we want to listen to you. It's what we're going to do. We're committed to listen to your input, to try our very best to solve all your issues and work in partnership with you as together that we serve the needs of our kids so that they can all be successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. And I tell you, all of the staff members have just worked, our word this year is relentless. They have worked relentlessly, but many of you have too, because you have served on so many committees with us, and we want to thank you because it definitely has taken all of us. And a new Bulldog member this year, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce you to our new SRO, our student resource or school resource officer, Deputy Michael Gallagher. Deputy Gallagher graduated from the University of Delaware in 2001 with a BA in criminal justice and was captain of the university swim team. He worked in the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office in California for 17 years before moving to Parker County. He and his wife have 3 children, and he took the SRO position because he feels he can make a difference early in kids' lives. And I think this picture right here really shows that he's going to fit in really well with our kids. Welcome, Deputy Gallagher. So as Mrs. Martin alluded to just a second ago, that the commitment form comes out tonight. We had the survey a couple of weeks ago, and that gave us a preliminary idea of who might be home learning and who might be at school. But my goodness, so much happens every single day that many of you might have, changed your mind by now, and some of you might not still know, and that's what tonight is about. So in just a minute, Mrs. Addison and Ms. Carter are going to share what a typical day will look like at Millsap High School, whether you are on campus or remote. And so hopefully that will help you to make your decision. But what I'm going to do, we asked you to fill out but submit questions via the questions corner so that we could answer those questions tonight. Now, I will also point out to you in just a minute another way that you can submit questions tonight, and we will answer them live. And we will do our best to stay on until we have answered every single question. So obviously it's not possible for me to answer every question that was submitted to the Questions Corner. However, what I have done is tried to link together the most frequently asked questions and probably the most important questions. So please forgive me if I do reference my sheet here to make sure that I don't leave something out. But we do ask tonight that once the commitment form is released, that you fill that out for each student. And it's a pretty quick turnaround. We're asking if you can do that by Monday, which I know that's pretty quick, but the deal is we start school 2 weeks from today. And so for us to be able to finish preparing, getting ready for your child, we're going to need that information as soon as we can. The commitment is for the first 6 weeks, and even if the governor's order were to change in the middle of a 6 weeks, or some other something significant would happen, we would ask you to complete that 6 weeks, but then you would have another opportunity to change your learning setting for the next 6 weeks, and you will have that opportunity each 6 weeks all year long. As a reminder, we are asking to cut down on bus crowding, that if it is possible for you to bring your child to school and pick them up, that would be very helpful for us. Now, we fully understand if you're not able to do that, then certainly that's the purpose of providing transportation. And some of the protocols on the bus, there will be hand sanitizer as someone gets on the bus, and then we will distance as much as we possibly can, although I know you're aware that that will be difficult to do on a bus. Because of that, masks, face coverings will be required on buses for 10 years old and up. Even once the governor's order changes, that will still be required on buses because of the close proximity. We will crack the windows a little bit to help air circulation, and we will have families sit together because that will also help to conserve space as well. But if you can, we'll ask that you bring your child to school and pick them up if it's possible for you. So many of you have inquired, and probably the most frequently asked question, and I know the one that is probably the most determining factor for you, whether you send your child to school or learn at home, is, how come it's not a choice for us to decide whether our student wears a face covering or not? The reason for that is right now in the governor's order, we do not have that option. It's not optional for students or staff right now. Now, I cannot and I will not speak for other school districts. That is their decision how they handle the governor's order. But in Millsap ISD, we do value ethical behavior, personal integrity, and we feel that it is our responsibility to prepare your child to become an upstanding citizen, and that includes upholding the law. So in Millsap ISD, we will uphold that, and if the governor's order changes, then absolutely, we will change as well. But we feel that we as a school district have to stand as the ultimate example of how to be an upstanding citizen. Now, we have also, many people have asked about, what if there's 6 feet or there's other barriers? Can students remove their masks? We are still waiting for clarification on that. I personally have submitted that question to the Texas Education Agency 3 times, and we do not have the final clarification on that. And so I will continue to seek that information from TEA. And the second we have that, I will provide an update. But in the meantime, we will stand with where we have been, because the commissioner has said on at least 2 different occasions that that is not his interpretation of the governor's orders. So we follow TEA, and so we will let you know as soon as we have an answer on that. We also want to remind you that currently, again, according to TEA, I know this is not exactly as some of the other guidance recommends, but TEA has said that a mask is not required under a face shield. And if you recall that the board has approved that a cap, as long as it's appropriate, nothing inappropriate on it, can be worn if a face covering is attached. And that could be the shields that some of you are seeing that are attached to a cap, or even the ones that have a button, and so you can put a mask and put the hook on the button instead of on the ears. That's an option as well. I will be the one who will make the final determination on any request for an exception to the face covering. And so for instance, if it's a doctor's note, then I will make a call to the doctor's office to confirm that, you know, it is a valid note, or if it is some other reason, perhaps due to a child's disability or something, then in other words, it does require some official type of notice to us, and I will be making that final determination. In the frequently asked questions, y'all have asked, what are the protocols for symptoms and quarantining? So the nurse on each campus is going to get together for that campus. So for instance, for the high school, Nurse Gast will get together either in a video or Q&A on the website exactly how that will work at the high school. But in general, what would happen if someone were to have symptoms? We, of course, hope that if that's caught first thing in the morning, please do not send your child to school, and fill out that screener. And then when you submit the screener, we could have a follow-up so the nurse could make a determination about that. But let's say that your student is at school and begins to exhibit symptoms, or a staff member for that matter. So we do have an isolation location on each campus. And so your student would be in the isolation room, and the nurse would be able to check out your student. We are extremely fortunate this year that we have a partnership with the Parker County Hospital District. And so we have, they're called med pods, but you've probably been to the doctor where you see these little portable machines, and perhaps the doctor or other specialist is not even in the room, and it's a kind of a telemedicine type thing. Well, we have a connection to our local county health official, who is Dr. Welch. They are also looking at hiring another doctor as well, but we actually have coordination with a doctor. Now, none of this would ever be done without parent permission. You absolutely must give permission first before the med pod goes into effect, because it is in essence like a doctor's visit. We also, though, can even like connect with you on the phone. You can listen in, you can even FaceTime and watch as it's happening. But if you do give permission and you would like your child tested, we will have COVID rapid tests available on campuses. And these would only take about 15 minutes. So that will help a lot. You will not have to take your child somewhere else. If you prefer to, absolutely, that is your choice. Or even if you don't want your child tested at all, then they could be quarantined and go through that period. But if you would like your child tested at school, we can do that. We'll also have other tests available, such as flu test, strep test. But again, none of that would happen without your permission. So then certainly, you would come get your student, or if they drive, then, they would need to go home. And there's 3 different options for returning to school: either a negative COVID test, or a doctor's note explaining that the symptoms are due to something else. Let's say a sinus infection, or maybe they did have strep throat, and so they had a fever, but then they took their medication, they're over the strep, and they're able to return to school. The third option would be the 14-day quarantine and then not having symptoms, so symptom-free for 24 hours, and then they could return to school. So what we would do, though, our nurses will be in constant contact with anyone being quarantined or someone who has received a positive on a test, to help the family and the student know when they can return to school. So that is definitely going to be a coordinated effort. So when that happens, if there is a positive, then the entire campus will be notified, not just the ones who were in close contact, but the entire campus would be notified. And of course, you know, we can't release the name of a student or staff member, but we would let you know that there had been a positive case. So you can make the determination if you feel comfortable with your student returning or not. But I will tell you the protocol, of course, would be that the building would be completely cleaned and disinfected. Of course, it's going to be cleaned and disinfected every single day throughout the day and in the evening. But we would do a really, really thorough deep cleaning, particularly of the areas that we knew the student or staff member was. Now, I can tell you that we very possibly will be able to take care of that in an evening after school, but it could be that the school would have to be on remote learning for everyone for a day or two while we do that. But of course, we'll be in constant communication with you, so you will know. And then we would let you know that everyone can return to school. A screener is to be filled out for each student every Monday by 7:30. And some have asked, why are the students only doing one once a week when staff are doing it every day? There's two reasons for that. One is that much of the research shows that students, youth and children are often asymptomatic. In other words, they have absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. So even if they were to fill out a screener, it wouldn't necessarily indicate that someone would or would not have COVID. The other reason is that we still will have to have a staff member go through and see who did not fill out a screener, and then the parent be contacted and let the parent know that the child couldn't return to school until a screener is done. That's obviously going to take some time. And so it's just not possible for us to do that every single day. Whereas, with staff, we only have 175 staff members. It's still going to be very time consuming, but we will be doing that every day because most of the time, not always, but most of the time, adults do exhibit symptoms. So we're testing out a couple of apps. We tried a new one even today. And I think we found out it's probably not going to be one that we'll go with. So we're trying to find an app that would improve this system, but that's what we're looking at right now. That the screener will indicate a notification that will go to the nurses if one of the questions comes back, let's say, yes, I have a temperature, or yes, I've been exposed to someone. And so the nurse would follow up on that notification. But again, we certainly ask you that if your child is exhibiting symptoms, please do not send them to school. For those of you with, this probably pertains more if you have younger children, but we will have Zone this year, our after school program that is usually housed at the elementary. And so more information will be coming out about that soon. Another topic of interest, especially for high school, is UIL and extracurricular information. So that will come directly from the sponsors and directors. I did just send a Facebook and a tweet just a little bit ago that unfortunately we won't be able to have Meet the Bulldog this year. However, we have volleyball starting next week. You know that football practices have already started, band practices have already started. It's already been very, very active. And I tell you what, it has certainly been a joy for me to see the kids again and go talk to them and take pictures. So that information will be coming out very soon as to how all that is going to work. Yes, your child can bring their own lunch. Some of you have asked if that's allowable, and it is. Some of you have also asked, are you allowed to bring lunch? We would ask that you not do that. We are limiting anyone coming in. Anyone who does come in has to fill out a screener and, of course, wear face coverings. Now, certainly if your child forgets their lunch, then that's one thing. But as far as on a regular basis, at least right now under current conditions, we are asking that not happen. Will parents be able to come up and eat with their student? We are going to work on that. And so what we would like to do is to get school going. If you'll let us, kind of work out the kinks, get a system going, and then particularly when the weather cools off a little bit, we could foresee having an area where, a parent and a student could eat together or something like that. But if you would give us a little bit of time to get school going and work out, the beginning of school kinks that we always have, then we'll get back to you on that. But we are hoping that perhaps we can work something out for the future. Don't worry about the kids going outside if it's too uncomfortable, just like we would in the winter or any other time. If it's not safe for kids to be outside, whether it's too hot or too cold, then we won't do that. We will, as much as we can, whether it's to spread out a classroom or to let kids go out and maybe have a face covering break or something, we're going to try to work those things out, but we would never have children, or, I know some of your kids are 17 or 18, but we're not going to send them out there if it's not safe for them. Students do need to bring their own water bottle with a lid, and no straw unless the straw collapses inside the cup. Most or many of the water fountains have been fitted as filling stations, and so that will be monitored by staff, but instead of just a regular water fountain, they will be filling stations. Some of you have asked about, it's on the supply list, about Clorox wipes, and you can't find Clorox wipes right now. Well, that's just one of our typical items on lists, and so if you can find them, great, but if you can't, don't worry about it. One of the things that we will be doing, I've talked about this in some of my update videos, it's the Pure and Clean. We're really excited about this because it will be used throughout the day, but it is non-toxic. It is on the EPA list of approved sanitizers and disinfectants, and you can literally spray it on any item, including your body, and it won't do any harm. And in 15 seconds, it can be sprayed on a surface and dry, and it's good to go. So we will be using this throughout the day, and it does not have alcohol. It doesn't have fumes. So it's a really good product, and we're excited about that. We also, some of you have asked about a mask or face covering, and what if a student lays it down? Obviously it could contaminate others. So just one suggestion, one idea, I've seen lots of neat ideas, but one of them is perhaps some type of a lanyard and the mask is attached. So if they're eating or drinking or, in PE or one of those band activities or something, that they can have it around their neck and somebody else isn't going to get a hold of it. And every student is going to get one of these cool Millsap masks. It is reusable and washable. And then if you would like, we also will have these face shields. And when you first get it, it looks green. But the reason why it looks green is there's a little protective covering on it. It's a little tricky to get those little, that film off. But once you get the film off, it's very clear. And I tell you, that is my choice. Decorated mine with a little M, but when I'm in long meetings all day, I often wear a face shield, and it's much more comfortable for me than a mask, so that's an option. We've also had some ask about staff being able to wear jeans and scrubs and why that is, and obviously again with the increased cleaning, but then also because CDC does recommend that your clothes are washed every single day as soon as possible. And so, instead of some nicer clothes being washed and not holding up, then we have said that that's okay. Now, there's been some concern about wouldn't scrubs make it look like a hospital atmosphere. And so, we are talking to the teachers about that, to choose their attire carefully. But I think for the most part, our teachers are probably going to choose jeans. They tend to really like jeans. So other than that, you all are so wonderful for our staff and to our staff, and you have expressed concern about the load that this year is going to put on our staff. And I'm so appreciative of that, because I know you already know this, but our staff will do anything for our kids. And so when Miss Addison talks here in just a second, she's going to explain the plan for the high school that we've come up with so that the teachers won't be so overloaded. And we want you to know that we have worked with the staff to come up with this plan. It's not something that we came up with. And just like we have worked with some of you on committees, we have worked with teachers throughout the summer as well. So I just want you to know that I'm excited about the long-standing relationship that we have all had. And so we are committed to making this work. It's not going to be perfect. I know we're not all 100% happy, but we are going to continue to listen to you. And here in just a minute, what I would like for you to do, if you don't know how a webinar like this works, at the bottom of your screen, there's a little box that has Q&A. Or if you're looking on your phone, I think on your phone, sometimes it's over to the right in the margin. But if you click on that, then you can submit your questions. And while Miss Addison talks, I'm going to do my best to answer as many as I can. Or if it's something that Miss Martin or we have Mr. Breeze, our technology director, on here, or perhaps even Miss Carter, then we're going to try to answer those. And when they're answered, then everyone can see those answers. And then once Miss Addison is finished, whatever questions are left, then we will answer those live. And our goal is to answer every question that we possibly can. So I want to thank Miss Addison and her team for all of their relentless work that they've had. And you are about to hear the Millsap High School plan now.
Well, good evening. I'm very super excited about this year. I know there's been a lot of angst as we ended the spring year and started this new year, but I'm very, very excited about it. I am Tammy Addison, principal here at the high school. My partner here is Roxy Carter. There she is. We are here to serve you, as all our teachers are. We're just very, very super excited about this year. So at the high school, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we've come up with in order to serve your students and you. We've had kids up here all summer, so it has been very exciting. We've been continuing with our certifications. We've had kids that have tested EKG and were certified. We've had kids that have tested and been certified in our CNA, Certified Nurses Aid program, in our Adobe Photoshop. We have just continued our certifications that we were not able to complete last summer. And we've done quite a bit over the summer to get ready and some great enhancements for your safety and for your learning. So to name a few, one of the really great things is this building is 19 years old, 19. And we got an opportunity to paint the inside of the building this year. So we got a facelift on the inside and we're very excited. We've also got some inspirational artwork in the hallways and painting in the bathrooms, and we're excited about that. We've got security film on all the outside windows because, you know, before this pandemic happened, we are still always been very, very on just the edge of we want our students to be the very safest they can be. And so that has been a very big piece of Millsap, relationships and safety. We've turned a room here in the office. We've busted part of a wall and put a door in so we can have our doctor's office with Dr. Welch that's from the Parker County District Hospital. And we have a med pod, and that's been exciting as well. We have hand sanitizers everywhere. Hand sanitation, they're in the hall, the cafeteria, the gym, they're in classrooms, they're everywhere. Everywhere you look, you'll go, oh, look, there's another one as you're walking around. The seating that would encourage any kind of gathering, like a couch. We had, you know, the deal was to transform and have social seating everywhere to encourage this cooperative learning and the social learning. And so we had couches and what have you, soft seating. Well, those have been removed. Anything that would encourage a gathering of a couple of individuals, we've just eliminated that temptation, and we put them in storage because we we're going to bring them back whenever we get a handle on all this, but that is gone from now. It's not even here for a temptation or even have a discussion about it. Our hallways, it looks like, I don't know, explosion has gone off, because I sent out an email to the teachers and I told them we need to make sure that we can get as many kids in the room 6 feet apart. Everybody, every human, that's teacher or student, needs to be 6 feet apart, regardless of mask, no mask. All the time we need to have 6 feet apart if we can do it. So if you need to take your teacher's desk out, you need to take any tables out, if you had a soft seating, or if you had any kind of social seating, or you had a bookshelf in there, whatever, if it would be a space for a child, then that needs to come out. I said, okay, put everything out in the hall and we'll figure out what we keep and what we haul off. And it's crazy out in the hallways now. Our teachers are rallying and making sure they just want those kids in the classroom, so they're right there at their fingertips. So that's been really exciting. And we've also done with the master schedule, really looked at that to see what can we do so that we can get every kid in a classroom and spread and use all of our spaces. We have turned the weight room into a classroom this year. Everything is a classroom this year. And we have, typically in the past, we've had a lot of remediation courses, because that is typically something that has been required that we remediate based on our STAR or our EOC results. For example, 8th graders coming in to the high school, if they did not pass their reading or math STAR test, we were required to remediate them for their promotion. Same way with our EOC kiddos, because they have to pass that to graduate, so we are required to provide remediation. Well, since STAR didn't happen last year, we nixed all those classes. And another example is there's no world history this year. We're just in world geography. And what we'll do is we'll rotate around. We do that often with some of our AP classes and some of our electives. We'll teach an elective one year, run a large group of kiddos through it, and then rotate it out with another one. That's how we are able to be so individualized and offer so many different type of courses at such a small school district. So looking at the master schedule, we just looked very hard at that, and we are going to maintain in almost all classes. There will be some here and there that, such as band, will not have 15 kids in it, but they will be in the gym or outside at all times whenever they're the marching band is performing. Same way with athletics, they've already got their protocols. PE, again, it will be in the gym or outside and larger spaces. But for those classroom type of classes, we do have it where we're going to have the 6 feet. If for some reason there needs to be an overflow, all those extra desks, because we can have 20 in each room, all those extra desks are going to be up and down the hall 6 feet apart, so that the teacher can step out in the hall and work with kids there if need be, and can keep their eye on everything all at one time, that they're right there by the door. But everybody is 6 feet apart. The staff, as Ms. Lee has talked, first of all, the staff that we have coming in this year is amazing. We always have a good staff, but this one's even, it's the greatest. You're going to love them. Good people, and know their content. They have completed and are still working on completing countless hours of professional development to be ready and prepared for your children, and be ready and prepared to teach at the same time kids in front of them and kids remotely. So this is a really big piece that our teachers have taken very seriously. They want every child. It is our goal. It is our wildly huge goal, and we will make it happen where our kids at home and our kids at school will both get a quality education. It will both have rigor in it, and it will both be quality, both of them. So we have done a lot just to prepare to get ready, and we have a whole lot more to go. Things evolve every single day. It's a historic year of learning. But I want to just to try to alleviate some concerns or bring up some concerns, because again, we are all walking through this together. None of us have ever gone through a pandemic, or I haven't in my lifetime, a pandemic such as this. So I'm going to take you through a day in the life of a child at Millsap High School. So let's talk about the learning. We've talked about all that. Let's talk about learning. Specifically, at the high school, we're in, I think, pre-K through 12. We cannot not learn. There is so much in this system that is a horizontal alignment. The high school, we're the end product where when a student leaves our walls here and leaves this school, they are either going to college or going to the workforce. We have kids here in school that are in college, and we have kids in school in the workforce. And what I mean by that is I have seniors that are in an electrical program, 7 of them, to be an electrical apprenticeship during this school year on their way to a journeyman working at an electrical company that could be doing the electrician at your house. So they have to learn their skill. We can't just do, well, we'll do a little bit because we're doing things different or we're remote. If we was to go remote tomorrow, as Miss Lee said, maybe somebody contacted and we have to do a remote thing for a day or two to clean, or maybe whatever might occur, we have to continue learning, and we have to continue learning at a high rigor, because the person that is going to put the electricity in your house, you want them to still know what they're doing whenever they come to do that. The EMT, yes, we had a student graduate as an EMT last year from high school. You still want the EMT to be able to come to your house at an emergency and take care of you properly. The same way with a nurse's aide, the certified nurse's aide, a welder. The companies are not hiring kids just because, oh, sorry, we had a pandemic, we'll excuse that you have no skill. No, so rigor has to be there. We will and must produce students that have the ability to walk into a career or into college. Texas A&M, Texas Tech, whether for college. When we went on remote this last spring, our English 1301 didn't miss a beat. The expectation is the same. So we will have and hold the same expectation at the high school. That is super important for us. So learning this year will look a whole lot different than in the spring. It must be intentional, and it has to be targeted in order to bridge some gaps from the spring. But the end result is we've got to produce our students to be successful, and they've got to be marketable, and I want them to be competitive when they leave here with the students of this entire world, not just Millsap, Texas. So 2 types of learning, that's all we're offering this year. In class and remote. In class and remote. And remember, you've got to decide by Monday. So to help you make a decision, we're gonna start with what a typical day will look. And I'm gonna attempt to share my screen. So I'm gonna share this one. There we go. Bell schedule. Okay, this is our bell schedule for next year. It is different. For those of you, there are 75 plus kids, with 75 at least freshmen coming in that have not been to the high school, plus all of our students that always transfer in, because Millsap is a really fabulous place to be. We have always run a block schedule, but this one is a little different for this next year. We do not have an 8-period day. In the past, we've had an 8-period day, but we do not have that traditionally. We do not have an 8-period day. We will the first day of school, just so every kid can meet every single teacher. But this is how our schedule will run all year long. And so if you notice, we have 5th and 8th period is every single day. And then we alternate. We start off with office hours at 7:30 to 8 in the morning. That is office hours that teachers are available to speak to students, to speak to other parents, to tutor. They're in their room and available for you, 7:30 to 8. And then you will see on Monday and Wednesday, we will go to first period for an hour and a half. third period, and then fifth period, which is where lunch is housed. That's why it looks extra long.
Miss
Lunch,
Adams,
yes?
sorry, this is Miss Lee. Can you share your screen, or is it supposed to be shared?
Oh, man.
That's okay. That's all right. Thank you.
Well, let's see if I can try to do it again. How about this? Can you see it now?
There you go. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you finally said something.
Well, actually, Allie did.
Thanks, Allie. Okay, so you can see as I was going through it all, we have our typical tutorials after fifth period. Fifth period was lunch, and this is where we take care of Bulldog business. And then you can see Fridays will be half a days unless you need to ride the bus home, because the buses will run at the regular time at 3:45, or unless you're not passing all your classes, and then you will be in the afternoon present on campus in order to get some intense and special instruction to learn and get your work in. Okay. So that is our schedule. So arriving at school, unless you are attending a scheduled 7 o'clock tutorial, we do have 7 to 8 tutorials. Unless you're scheduling a 7 o'clock tutorial session or participating in a scheduled practice like band, athletics, or archery, no one is to arrive at MHS before 7:30 to just hang out. We're not hanging out anywhere or loitering in the parking lot, in the cafeteria, anywhere. You are coming to school, and then you report to exactly where you're supposed to be going at the designated time you're supposed to be there. No loitering. That includes before school, after school, and at all athletic events. There's not any hanging out in between school and a game, or hanging out after a game, or hanging out during a game in the parking lot or somewhere. So 7:30 to 8, like we already said, that is office hours, but that is where a student will report between the 7:30 and 8 time. A student will report directly to their first class of the day. And this will be through multiple entry points. So I'm going to attempt to share another screen here. So here we go. Okay, here's the map. I don't know how to turn it sideways. Tried all day. So you can see this map. So if a student is supposed to, this is student parking over here. If a student is going to band, let's say, they would go straight to the band hall through the band door. There's no reason to go anywhere else in the building. If a student was, first period was out in the ag building, then a student would walk straight to the ag building from the student parking lot. There's no reason to go through the inside of the building. There are multiple places, all doors, you can see the green are places that will be monitored, that'll have a staff member there holding their door open so not a bunch of people are touching the doors. They just walk in and go to their class, and they walk into from multiple areas. If they were gonna, first period of the day is at the 400 hall, they would walk in down here at the 400 hall. So 7:30 to 8, kids would go directly to the first class that they have of the day. If they want breakfast, they'll go by the cafeteria and get a grab and go breakfast, and that can be a hot breakfast as well, but they will grab their breakfast and head on the first period, and they will eat in first period. So things that students will need to have as they come to school to start their day, they will need to have personal items to them, the things that they only touch, nobody else touches, and that's a charged Chromebook. Every day they come in, they should have a charged Chromebook. We are going to issue those on picture day. We have before school starts so that we can value all the learning time, and we can have a managed scheduled time we will have on the 17th and 18th, and we communicate everything through email. So we've been sending that out through email. Our system will roll tomorrow, and so all the new kids will be in, and I'll send out again on Monday. And that way all the new students will start receiving emails as well. But on the 17th, 18th, you will have a designated time to come up and take your picture, check your Chromebook out. If you have any kind of medications to check in, that will be the day to check them in. And again, make sure that you have already registered your child for school this year. But a kid will come to school with a charged Chromebook. They need to pick it up on the 17th, 18th, make sure they charge it and turn back around on the 20th and bring it back to school. Have a water bottle, a whiteboard markers, a sock eraser. That's like the coolest thing, especially the one that you never can find the other mate to. That's a great eraser. We have all math rooms have whiteboard desks. And then, of course, other rooms have the whiteboards. So that way they have their own sock eraser, as well as, or a towel. And as well, you can use that in anything you're needing. When you're talking about sanitizing, when a student sanitizes, you spray and let dry. It takes 15 seconds to dry, so you're not wiping anything off. So again, your charged Chromebook, a water bottle, whiteboard markers, sock eraser, a hand sanitizer, work gloves if they're doing anything out in the ag shop, natural gloves, or sometimes if you're allergic to latex or whatever kind of glove you might want for any kind of hands-on science classes and electives, and a face covering of some sort. You will need a face covering. Those are the things that you'll need as you're coming in. So the student's going to enter the building with their super cool, appropriately personalized face covering on and report directly to the first class of the day through the closest entry door. Now, I got this really cool, even clip onto your normal hat that you would wear. So I know that the guys are going to be super excited, and I'm going to try to share my screen again because I took some pictures of it, and it is very, very cool, these examples here. So here we go. So there is some examples of it's a cap, ball cap with it on, and it's just, that is my hat. That's not my cowboy hat. That's my son's cowboy hat, and that's my hat. And then look, I have a cool little, I got this years ago at Disney World, and I just clipped this on there. It is the coolest thing ever. This would be what I'll be sporting because the other one kind of a little claustrophobic about. There's also this one. This is the one, these are ones you can just buy. That was like $20 for 5 of them. I can't remember if this was like even super cheaper. But this is like glasses that you can, especially if you're doing science, your science experiments. You have to wear goggles anyway. Now you just wear this instead of the goggles. And so that would be cool. This is something that, especially our staff, I'm going to ask with, because we do have kids that need to read lips, and we do have some that are hearing impaired. So that is also something to think about. When a student enters the room, they're to use the Pure and Clean disinfectant, and they go clean their own space that they're using. They go and clean their own space. We're going to train students to be those citizens so that not just at school, but anywhere they're just taking care of themselves appropriately. So they'll clean their own space. They'll sit in their designated seat that is positioned 6 feet from any other human. And again, we have that worked out in our classrooms, and I would always welcome you to come up and view any kind of walk around, view a classroom, whatever you might do to make yourself feel a little better about something. This is an example of one with desks in it, and I mean, we're using every space. We went wall to wall and took everything out. And let's see, this is one with tables and desks, because you couldn't get enough tables with I mean, literally measuring tapes out. Teachers are very serious about this. So that's a big deal. So the 8 o'clock bell rings and the students both in class and remote learning, both at the same time, will log on to their Canvas through a single sign-on. They will log on to Canvas, and that is something parents need to log on as well and be part of a student's Canvas. You can have, it's a little app that you just click on your phone and all your courses come up. And kids have it, should have it on their phones, and parents need to as well. So you can keep up with what your kid is doing, the assignments, the lessons, everything is on there in one-stop shop. The students will then go to our website, and they will actually view an agenda. And it's a weekly agenda that will be posted, and that's for all grade levels. I'm going to share my screen one more time to give you an idea of what an agenda will look like. This is kind of, I don't have a really good picture of this, it's kind of blurry, but I'll talk you through it. What will happen, whether you're in the classroom or whether you're at home remote, you will, during the time of class, you're just doing class at home, but it's the same time. During that exact time of class, you will go to this agenda and you will see what you are doing that day. And then you will go into your Canvas, and all of, that's where all your assignments will be held, and that's also where you will submit all your assignments for both in class and remote. You will start out, you'll know exactly what your learning objective is for the day, and then up here at the top, and then you'll have a short instructional video. Now, this was a really big deal. I met with kids over the summer and reflected on last year what they liked and didn't like with the remote learning and the classroom and what have you. And the biggest thing was, is they said, Miss Addison, we just want the facts, that's it. They don't want you to, the teachers to ramble on email or on a Zoom live or watch somebody have some individual instruction, whether in class or Zoom. Just tell us the facts, tell us what we need, tell us how to do it, and then we want to be able to show the teacher what we're doing to make sure we're on track and we've got it. So they wanted that immediate feedback with no rabbit trails. So this short targeted instructional video will be excellent for high school for a variety of reasons. First, it'll help you. For some of you parents that don't remember Algebra 2 or don't remember Pre-Cal or AP Cal, you can watch that instructional video, and that 15-minute video, you'll know what's going on, and you'll be able to help your child if you so desire. Also, that student can look at that video over and over until they figure it out and see that, learn that specific skill. Also, later on in the year, for semester finals or whatever, they can go back and use it as a review. Our kiddos that are in athletics or FFA, FCCLA, archery, drama club, the ones that are always gone, always, especially in the spring, well, they don't miss any kind of learning. It will be the same rigor, the same quality that's in the classroom because everybody's getting the same learning. That's huge in the spring. So the in-class and remote student will then, after there's an instructional video, will then apply that skill to learning through an assignment or activity or some sort of where they utilize and apply that learning that they just learned, that skill. That at that time, you need to think some of our classes are an hour and a half. We've always done this. We've been on a block schedule now for 6 years, that a teacher always teaches more than one skill during a class period. You teach a skill, you have a little guided practice, you teach another skill, you have another little guided practice, and then a cumulative assignment. That is typically how that has been run. So there might be multiple short videos and some opportunities to apply that activity, and then a formative assessment. A formative assessment is a checking for understanding. This will be towards the end of class, and this is where every remote learner, there'll be a live Zoom, and every remote learner will click in to the live Zoom, and the teacher will check for understanding with those remote learners during that class period, at the end of that class period, after they've watched their first teach video, maybe multiple times if they need to, after they've practiced on the assignment or the activity, applying the skill that they just learned in the video, then the teacher connects with them in person to see if they have any other questions, to look at their work to see if they are on the right track, and to give immediate feedback, and that is the attendance for that period. So kids will need to check to come in for attendance. That time is not a first time teach. The kid had to be on and looking at their video earlier. There's no time to do a whole hour of the class that we've already been in. Okay, so after the formative assessments, during that period, then the kid that's in class will actually clean their space again. We'll go and spray their Pure Clean all over their desk and their chair and their area and walk out of the room. Now for those kids that are still struggling, so let's say that remote learner or that in-class learner is struggling, everything so far has been the same. Activities can change from remote and in-class, but the idea of they will have the same lesson through video. They will have an activity to utilize the skill they've learned, and then they will have a check for understanding during that period. All in class and home will do the same. Then if a kid is struggling like any other kid in like all other years, they will have opportunities for tutoring. We have 7 in the morning to 8 o'clock tutoring in the Learning Center. We have 7:30 to 8 teacher office hours. We have that tutorial and take care of you business on Tuesday through Thursday for 30 minutes. We have Friday 1 to 3:35 Learning Center tutorials, and that is mandatory for all Phelan students. And of course, if you schedule anything with your student after school. So here we go. Student finishes the class, they've disinfected, and then they leave, and it's passing period. So passing period, remember that map that we had? I think I can just flip back to that. Let's see. Woo! Okay. And what we will do is you have to have face coverings at all times, regardless of what the state says about the 6 feet, because in the hallway, you're never 6 feet. They always get together, the kiddos do. So you'll have to have a face covering of some sort as you're always transporting, and you will take the shortest route. So if you are down here in that 400 hall or 500 hall, and you're going to ag or the 400 hall, you're going to leave out that door and go straight to ag or straight to the 400 hall. So we have somewhat of a one-way system. However, if the teacher will discuss with their kids and problem solve. If you're sitting right here in Mr. Howdige's room and you need to go upstream and across the hall to Miss Bradley's room, we're not going to make you walk all the way around. We will use common sense and get to the place the closest way and the most reasonable way by using all areas and all exits. We will also, this pink area right here, this is 2 bathrooms that have always been a staff bathroom. Now they're just human bathrooms. All but everybody in this 500 part, the new part down here, will use these 2 staff bathrooms. And here in the older part of the 500, they'll use, in the library, will use these big bathrooms. These 3 staff bathrooms, we moved Maroon Crew back out of that bathroom so we could have all 3, are now human bathrooms. And those 3 human bathrooms will be for everybody on the 400 hall. Of course, these bathrooms are for this area, and ag has their own bathrooms. So that is how that works. We will always be in transit during passing period. There will not be a hangout period. There will not be, let me hang out with my boyfriend or girlfriend or my group of friends. Nope, we're always moving and in transit with a face covering on. We go right to our room and we will sit in our personal space after we've cleaned it. We always clean our space when we arrive to the room, and we always clean our space when we leave. Then we go to lunch. Lunch is going to be social. That is something that was determined to have a social time for the kiddos with the 6 feet piece. Monday through Thursday, we will be in the cafeteria. We will have that traditional 3-period lunch, staggering lunch during 5th period with approximately 75 kiddos, where athletic boys will have that last lunch. We will dismiss by classroom, so we're staggered down into the cafeteria. And then when you get in the cafeteria, tables will be spread out all over the place. They're going to be all over the cafeteria. They're going to be in the hallways because, again, we got tables everywhere 6 foot apart. They're going to be in the foyer. They're going to be on the stage. And if we have to, we'll go out in the gym. But we will be out of the classroom to eat Monday through Thursday and have a social life. We will, though, have our mandatory physical distance. Students will have to make a decision as they come on into the lunchroom. They're going to have to look around and they're going to make a decision. All of this will be training the first week of school. They'll look and they'll see if there are already 3 people on the designated spots in the lunch line, and there are already 3 people on the designated spots outside the lunch line, then they're going to have to take a seat at a table and wait for those spots to open up to go get in line to get their food. Of course, if they bring their food, go sit down and have fun and eat. While you're eating, you don't have to wear your mask. When you go in the lunch line, it will be a grab and go. We will have hot food. It will just be all individually wrapped, ready to go, so it is just grab and go. All students will have an ID with a barcode, so we're not touching the numbers on that thing all the time. So they just swipe and go, and then they go and eat. We'll have, which Miss Darla has always taken a trash can and rolled it around and actually went to each kid to get their trash so she could have conversation with them. Well, we're going to continue that to limit any kind of movement we can. So we'll do that. Then immediately tables will be disinfected as students get up, and back to the classroom they go. And they'll disinfect their chair and their space, and off that process goes again. So Friday during 8th period, remember that is a different day because we're getting out at 1 o'clock. Again, buses don't run till 3:35, but all students that have rides and are passing are welcome to leave campus at 1 o'clock. If they remain because of tutoring or because they don't have a ride, they will have an assigned place to be and to work that is supervised and is social distanced. On Friday, during 8th period, that will be the lunch rotation, and every 8th period classroom will go to the cafeteria and as a class and get their lunch and bring it back to their classroom and eat. And that will be in a system and a process of getting to the cafeteria and getting back to the classroom. So due to this process, we are asking no visitors come. We have 1 table out front that we were talking about, Miss Lee talked about after time gets going, maybe. But right now we're asking for no visitors to come and eat. Right now we're just trying to get a handle on what we got in the building. So then let's say we go to another 2 periods and it's dismissal time. So kid goes and does class again and then it's dismissal time. So this is dismissal procedures. At 3:35, when the bell rings, after school athletics will dismiss first, and they'll go directly to the area with their coach if they have practice after school. Then we'll dismiss the first wave of buses, and they will go, students will go directly to that bus, get on it, sit in their chair, and leave. And then this is all within minutes. This is how we'll be staggering out. So after we have athletics that have coaches waiting for them, and after we have the buses, they're out of there. Drivers that are leaving campus, those drivers will go directly to their car and leave campus. Then we'll have parent pickup. That's because sometimes we have parents that are really early and some that are really late. So we'll have parent pickup at that time and walkers, and they'll go directly to their vehicle and leave and or walk home immediately. And then the last wave of dismissal will be the buses that have the second bus wave, and they'll go directly to the bus, sit down and leave. And then what we'll have remaining is all of our staff kids, which is quite a bit, and our kids that are staying for either tutorials or clubs right after school that's located in the building. And so those kids will remain, and we'll dismiss them to go to their location with their designated adult. There will be no hanging out, none, zero hanging out anywhere. Everybody is going to a destination, and they are either leaving campus or going to a supervised destination with an adult. That includes between games. They will be leaving campus and coming back to the game, or they will be with a supervised adult in a supervised location. So that was the day in life of a child, whether they're at home or at school, learning at Millsap High School. We've kind of gone over that. There's one more bit of information you're going to need in order to make your decisions right after this, in order whether to go remote or to come in the classroom. And the other piece, let me see if I can share again. Remote learners, there we go. And then let me share my screen. Okay, you're going to need this bit of information. This bit of information right here. So, hope everybody can see that. Miss Lee, let me know if we can't. So what this says right here is we have some courses that you must be present on campus for. So for those of you trying to figure out remote or on class, some of you might say, you know what, I'm going to be on campus because I'm taking that course. There will be some of you that go, you know, I don't want to be on campus. I'm nervous about this, or I just don't want to be on campus for whatever reason. And so I'm going to change my schedule, and I'm not taking that class this year. I'll take it next year, or I'll take something else, or I'll change my program of study, whatever the case may be. But you do have choices, which I'm really excited about this year. I have kids that want to come to school that are going to be here because they have a choice. So marching band. Marching band is an on-campus only class. It is first period. So if you are remote learning, you will drive to camp. If you want to still be a marching band, you can. You will drive to campus. You will go straight to the band hall. You will do your marching class. Then you will go out of band hall door, go back to your car, and go right back home. You don't come into the main building for any reason. And then you finish your remote learning for the day. You got to check in, and you got to do your checking for understanding each class period. Although you can Zoom on your phone, but not while you're driving. Then same way, ag fabrication is first and third period, Monday and Wednesday. That is, you park in the parking lot and you go straight to the ag shop, and you will do your on-campus learning for that entire period. And then you will go back to your car and go home. Again, you've got to figure out how to be a part of that fifth period that day, and seventh and eighth. Same way with ag fab, you can kind of see the scenario. Boys athletics, you will be here for athletic time. Coach Johnston will hold the door. You will remain in your vehicle. He will come to the door and open it at the beginning of passing period. You have 5 minutes, like every other student in the classroom, to get from your car and into the field house. And y'all will have athletics. And then when the bell rings, you have 5 minutes, like any other student that's in the classroom, to get back to your car and leave campus. Electrical, same idea. Girls athletics, you'll be entering the girls locker room. Practicums will go to their job sites. CNA will go to Weatherford College in the spring. Cosmetology will report to Weatherford High School. Again, it'll be like it's not come up here 30 minutes early and I think I'm going to grab tutoring with my friend or teacher, or I'm going to grab lunch or grab breakfast, or I'm going to say hi to a friend, or I'm going to all go to Whataburger and then hang out in the parking lot and eat with all my friends in my car or out. Nope, it's you come, you go in to your class, you get in your vehicle, and you leave. That's how that remote learning piece works. This right here, the pink part, is not an everyday remote check-in. If you happen to be in ag mechanics, 1 hour a week, this is not during the school day, this will be before school or after school, or that Friday afternoon, or on a Saturday and Sunday or Sunday. Coach Casey will come up and he will work with you. You have to have some hands-on instruction and demonstration in ag mechanics. That with Stretcher, the same way with principles of ag, there is a hunter safety time, and during that time, that 3 weeks, you will have to have, in order to certify, you will have to have some hands-on skill and some hands-on demonstration, and that will be done, again, not during the school day or class time. It will be done before school, after school, or it'll be on Friday afternoon or on the weekend. Band ensemble, band percussion, that is the same idea. You've got to have 2 hours a week of instruction from your band director outside of the school day. Midterm, again, you can kind of read through this. It's the same idea that for the piece. We have for certification in floral and animation and BIM, we have a Microsoft Office certification in our business information management. We have an Adobe animation certification. We also have in those that you will need some, not a lot, but some skill, hands-on skill with your teacher. So all the pink is a required time outside of the class time. That is before school, after school, Friday from 1 o'clock on, or Saturday or Sunday. The yellow is in the classroom, during the class day, during that course, only option. Okay, I hope that is better than clear as mud. That's a lot of information. Questions?
Okay, so that was a lot of information. Way to go, Miss Addison. She gave y'all so much detail. So many of you have asked if this will be posted on the website, and the answer is yes. I think we might need to update what we had planned. So Miss Addison will get with us on that. I mean, like what we currently have. And so we will get that updated before it's released tonight at 9 o'clock. So we've been trying to answer most of the questions as you have asked them. Now, one question I wasn't sure how to answer, Ms. Addison, was how will 6 feet distance be kept in the hallways? And you kind of mentioned that's probably not going to be possible, but I feel you had talked about a plan though that you have to help that, even though it might not be 6 feet. But can you talk about that just a minute?
Yes, ma'am. And Roxy, I'll let you think of the one, your response to the discipline, because we'll handle all discipline like we always have in a system. So the 6 feet in the hallway, there's 2 different things going on in the hallway. There is desk for learning, and then there's a passing time period. So the desk will be 6 feet apart in the hallway for learning time. For the passing period time, we will work with the kids on distancing themselves, but that is not going to be where, because here's the piece on, like even in the classroom, it really takes like 30, 45 minutes. My teachers are getting out tape measures because it's a circumference. If we did one kid and a 6 foot circumference that another kid couldn't get around them, we could only let them go in single file, anywhere to move. We are, as the map showed, we are trying to have some one-ways with some common sense approaches so that we have kids that are moving outside. We've always in the past not allowed kids to go out that outside door because the game we played before was keep everybody in so we can keep them all safe and all doors closed. Like in February with my safety audit, I had some teachers with the doors open. No, they should be closed. No, now we have them all open so airflow can go. So we will be using all doors. We have not necessarily used the doors by the band hall and the art room. We are using every door for kids to move in and out of so that we don't have as many kids in the hallway, and then we'll release kids in a staggering piece. We'll also have teachers up and down the hallway monitoring that will hold kids and tell kids to move and direct that part. But they will be wearing a face shield and a mask because we're only doing what we can that is possible.
And that's not, they don't have to have a mask under the shield, one or the other, face covering. Yeah. Ms. Carter, did you start to say something? No?
No,
Okay.
ma'am. I was just answering I answered the question online that was posted.
Okay, thank you so much. And I don't know, Ms. Addison, can you see the ones that Ms. Carter and I have been answering? Can you see the Q&A?
I can't see anything. I saw that one question. So I guess when you answer them, they go away.
Well, they go over into the answered column. So I just wanted to make sure.
Just kidding. I can see them now.
Okay, can you? Oh, good. I just wanted to make sure that any of them I answered. I didn't answer inappropriately or, incorrectly. I hope I wasn't ever inappropriate, but incorrectly. And some of the questions, it looks like I answered and Ms. Carter answered and Health Technology answered. And Ms. Martin, there was one question you asked if you could answer, or I don't know if Ms. Addison did already answer it. I think it was about remote students having tutoring.
Oh, I'm glad you answered the one about the job. Now we are, for those students that have jobs, this is just like any other, when you're choosing to go to school at Millsap High School, we are having school during the day. You would want to adjust your job schedule just like any other time. You would adjust your job schedule for after your classes. Now, if you're a junior or senior, you can take career prep, which means you leave at noon to go work. So we will work with you on that, and that gives you some skill on resume building and on all the ethics and integrity and the pieces that go with the soft skills that some of the generation doesn't have, that we are trying to instill. But you will have to rearrange your job schedule to match. We're at school now. We will start school and we'll be at school. And so you're expected to be at school every period, whether you're at home or whether you're here. So you'll need to arrange that with your employer.
So Miss Addison, I did answer a question about, there was a question about, I'm a remote learner. Do I have to come to school for tutorials? And I said, no, you don't have to come to school for tutorials. You can attend a virtual tutorial session to get help from your teacher. Do you want to expound on that?
Yes, if you're a remote learner, you're not coming to school for tutorials. You're only doing stuff virtually, or then you need to come to school and be at school. We're allowing you to come up for band and athletics and welding during the school day. There are some courses that we mentioned that are outside the school day that you would need for a hands-on activity, but for like math or what have you, that is something that we will Zoom and virtually work with you during those tutorial times, like that 7 to 8 in the morning. That goes for Zoom and in class. All those tutorial times are open for kids on campus and kids remotely. So anything a kid has here, we do not want anybody at home. You're not going to get the shaft. If you're at home learning, you're getting the same content, the same rigor. You have the same access to tutorials. It's just done remotely through remote.
So there's one question for clarification. Will you clarify, I think I heard something about parents coming to visit and look at classrooms or various things. We have concerns. Are you talking about before the school year starts? And so I think part of this is, we said, of course, we're trying to limit visitors. Mm-hmm. And so, obviously we would need to work that out, and anybody who does come into campus, does have to do the screener and wear face covering and so forth. But if someone had a specific concern, I would suggest, first of all, of course, talking, to you and walking through it. But if they would actually like to see it, then we could arrange for a visit for that. And once the school year starts and the kids are here, then, you know, I'm sure we can work that out, certainly. But it's not just, you know, like it's been in the past that pretty much anyone can come at any time. So we would need to work that out.
So what has been happening? Oh, sorry, Ms. Carter, you answer it. I've talked a lot too much.
We discussed that today because unfortunately we did not get to have like a freshman orientation like we had in the past years. But if it's new to Millsap High School kids, like freshmen or new students, we will certainly have all hands on deck on the first day of school, making sure that they find their way to classes and so forth. But also, if they wanted to come up beforehand, they could call the office and we'd be glad to give them a tour.
That we have had tours every day. Somebody's called in and asked, and when they see what the classroom looks like now, it's a disaster because we got everything in the hallways because we are cleaning house for kiddos. But we walked around and showed the examples, and they've all been like, "Oh, I'm absolutely coming back to class, back to school." So absolutely, I think it helps when you do see it, but you do need to schedule an appointment with Ms. Pitchford.
There's one question: what is the ratio of in-school compared to virtual? And excuse me, we can't really answer that yet because we don't have the commitment forms yet. That's one of the reasons why we do need the commitment forms. But I will tell you the reason why you know, Miss Addison has the schedule that she has is so that teachers will have that opportunity to be able to spend the time that they need with their remote learners. And particularly like the Friday dismissing earlier so that they can spend time then if they need to, plus you know, as well as looking at their work that's remote. So they have spent a lot of time making sure that all kids are going to have plenty of time, whether they're online or at school. We also actually are hiring some additional personnel to help with some of that. And if we still need even more, we have some people who are also considering working just online. It just depends on our numbers, but we're certainly going to do whatever we can to make sure that all kids are taken care of. And additionally, our board has committed that whatever it takes this year, even if we have to dip into our fund balance to get extra personnel, that our staff and our students are going to have whatever it is that they need to make sure that they're successful.
A really good question was just asked. Lori asked about, I'm not receiving some of the emails, and she is at the middle school coming in. You guys that are freshmen that are coming in, this is super, 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 super important. At the high school, we communicate by email to kiddos and to parents. That is how, if we don't deliver messages during the day, like to see the counselor, or you have tutorials, or hey, club is meeting. It all goes out of email. There's multiple reasons for that. It doesn't disturb learning, opening the door 100 times, you know, in the middle of a class. Also, that is exactly what college does. They expect the kid, and we were having freshmen sitting in our speech, our dual credit speech, and the first couple of years ago, and I'm like, you haven't turned anything in. Why was you turning anything in? Have you checked your email? No. Well, pull it up. I don't know it. My mom has it. No. Well, have you checked your My College account? No. Where's it at? My mom has it. So everybody has to be on email. So we're going to roll tomorrow. So by Monday, this will be a big deal. If you need to register, this is how we get your email and how you get information from us. You've got to register, do the online registration, make sure you put in an email that you check, one that you check. If it's your work email, that's or personal, but something that you're going to see all the time. And make sure you put in a good cell phone number, because a lot of times I will text and say, check your email, important information, when it's real important, versus I don't do that all the time if it's just update stuff. But if it's something like you need to vote today, I would say check your email, you need to vote, or something like that. So the cell phone is important, and that includes every kid that was a middle school kiddo, so they've been getting all the information. So if the kid was checking their email, they would know it. So the kid and the parent, make sure you register.
Okay, I'm answering. Just typing. So someone was asking about senior events and graduation and prom and all of that. And so what I'm answering is, just like last year, we are going to have everything that we possibly can. Graduation was one of the most phenomenal nights ever, I mean, that I have experienced. It was just a wonderful experience, even with the physical distancing and so forth. We weren't, unfortunately, able to have prom because how do you physical distance a prom? And it was also during that time when, COVID was really strong during the summer. That's the only event, though, that I can think of, correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Addison, that we just flat didn't have. Now it might look different. For instance, when we had the seniors drive by and pick up their caps and gowns, and we've done all kinds of neat things like that. But so it might look different, but we're still going to have as many activities as we can. And what we're really, really hoping, of course, is the longer we go, this is all going to get better. We're going to be able to ease back on some of the restrictions and, have even more flexibility about what we can do. Let's see. Do you see Ms. Ballmer's question? Okay, for now, parents are being asked to please not visit, come for lunch, etc., until it's safe to do so. Okay, so right now we are trying, not to do that. We'll see if we can do that later. But because matter of fact, I think the elementary did also say, like, if it's a brand new student to the elementary who has never been in the building, and particularly the young ones, lots of nerves, then we would try to work something out to show them a tour. And so certainly we'll do that, the same thing right now. Okay, other questions? Whoops, cut off before I completely finished, but
I think you're going to find this year that our staff are so excited about kids. I mean, we've missed them. And so we are ready. We're ready to teach. We're ready to see the kiddos. When it comes to activities and what is going to happen, and hopefully you've got that idea just from listening tonight, that this team is an out-of-the-box thinker. And we will have integrity. We will follow the rules. But if we can make it happen, we're going to make it happen. So all of those ideas, whether it be, we've got ideas whirling around where we are going to try not to miss anything. We rescheduled prom 3 times because we were determined to have it. It didn't happen, but we will make every effort to have all the senior events that are so very important. And that includes many things that, we're brainstorming about pep rallies and assemblies and the things that we have during the year that will continue on.
So, Ms. Addison, will you talk about pep rallies? There's a question that asks, will there be pep rallies, and then what may they look like?
In my mind, I do have to go through, we do have an approval process here because I always call it, we're super safe. I used to say that with all the doors locked and everybody was trying to get in with the doorbells, and I'm like, we're super safe, super safe. Well, now we're super, super, super safe. So I don't know if any of y'all experienced graduation, but I'm thinking if we can pull graduation off, I'm pull pep rally off. Just got to figure it out. And so my thought in my head is the band and cheer on the ground, and some players, everybody social distance out, of course, out at the football field. And we go by class, and they have designated areas to sit. You would be surprised. I tried to see about doing that in the gym, and you can only get 105 humans in the gym, social distance one 6 foot, 6 foot in the gym. So you'd be surprised. But I think, it's a big field. Surely we can make it happen.
Thank you, Ms. Addison. I'm sure we are a little bit early. We may have some additional questions. We want to give everybody an opportunity to get their questions in. So this is definitely, we're going to, oh, Miss Lee's power got cut off. So she's going to join me and you'll see how we do this. I have on a mask and she has on a shield. So
sorry about that, guys. My power went out in my office, so I went blank.
well, Miss Lee, we have called.
That is awesome.
Yeah. There are no more questions. We've called for last questions. We have so far answered, my glasses are fogging up. We have answered like 26 questions, almost 31 questions. There's another. Miss Addison, talk to us about Maroon Crew, please.
Missy just texted me. I bet she missed that. She says, good evening, about pep rallies. We do have Maroon Crew. Oh, no, it's Swana. We do have Maroon Crew. They already tried out for it. It is Missy Dunn and Mimi Naren. And so they are teachers at the elementary school that come over and do an amazing job with our spirit group. So I would suggest if you have any questions, we do have a Maroon Crew. Yes, ma'am. We've already tried out for Maroon Crew. However, if you have some questions, concerns, or want to know just something about it or want to be a part somehow, I would email them, and I'm sure they would be happy to get back with you.
Thank you. Ms. Addison, the next one's about homecoming activities.
Well, I sure hope so. Surely we can do some homecoming activities. It's just going to look different. We're going to do something.
And the very last one we have currently is, we do know that students are going to be able to socialize at lunch, but will there be other times during the day when they can socialize?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Or sir, that is all the time, because our rooms are, 6, you can still, I really expect with doors open and 6 feet apart, we're going to have a lot of noise, which we normally do at the high school anyway. We're not a real quiet place, but, you can have a social life with, and be 6 feet apart, and that I still think will occur. So yes, we're going to do that. We also have looked into those barriers. We have one in our conference room right now. So that is something that we will also utilize as well. But I think that is not going to be an issue. We're not going to have a problem with our kids socializing. We don't have to encourage that.
Well, can I add, Miss Addison, we've had Edge all summer. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. We've had Edge all summer. We've had kids here, as Miss Addison, started from the beginning. We've had kids all summer long. Today I was at football, volleyball, band, earlier cross country. We've had cheer camp, and I mean, the kids are having a great time. We've had just several activities throughout the summer, and the kids are having a wonderful time, and they are just excited to see each other. You would be so surprised. Most of the kids are like, I don't care if I have to wear a face shield. I just want to see my friends, and they're coming up with really fun ideas, about their masks and things. And so I just really do believe that we're going to find that we're able to still function, quote unquote, normally, and kids just enjoy themselves. And we do believe it's important for their social and mental well-being that they are together and have fun. And I know, Miss Addison and her team have done such a phenomenal job to give you details about how it works. And I know it sounds a little overwhelming and scary, But I assure you, and if you know Miss Addison, they're still going to have fun and it's still going to be social. And, you know, if you're curious, we are just following the TEA guidelines, and you can go to the Texas Education Agency website and you can find that document, or if you email me, I will be happy to give you that document, that we're just following those guidelines. And I know it seems, you know, kind of crazy, but it is all about trying to keep kids and staff safe and us having school open. Because the fact of the matter is, you know, the safer we are, the more we're going to be open and kids be at school, and that's our ultimate goal. So I think we have a few more. Is it only the person showing symptoms that will have to quarantine, siblings, classmates, etc.? That's a great question. And so certainly the person, and I think I mentioned towards the beginning that you would, you know, there's 3 different things that you could do. You don't necessarily have to quarantine if you have a negative COVID test, or if a doctor has a note determining that, you know, there's some other reason why you're exhibiting a symptom. So you can give us that as well. So as far as who else would have to quarantine, that would have to do with close contact. So the latest definition of close contact is within 6 feet for a cumulative amount of 15 minutes or more. And actually, a face covering may or may not matter. It depends. And that's literally, they say on the definition, it depends. We would look at every single case and say, okay, did both parties have on face coverings? Was there ventilation? Were they inside? Were they outside? And that's how we would determine that. But the entire campus will receive notification that there is a positive. Now, we won't send out something just if someone is symptomatic. But if there is a positive, then that would, everybody would know that. And then those that we were able to determine had close contact, then those would be contacted individually. But you can also imagine in a school, you know, that might be hard to do. That's also part of the government's responsibility to do what they call tracing. So they would help us with that. But again, this is where Dr. Welch is going to be so beneficial. We already have a neighboring school district that had a case, and he walked them through every single step, and that's how they determined who needed to quarantine and who didn't. So there's really not a blanket answer for that. It will depend on every single case. It will be different. How will kids need to sign up for after-school clubs like drama?
Oh, just typing that answer. Okay, well, that's good. I don't have to type it. The first week of school, we will do, in the past, we've done assemblies, and we've talked to them all about that in large groups, and we can't do that this year. So what we will do is the first day of school, we will do an 8-period day, and that will be, right now, all I know of an 8-period day. And then the teacher will have they will have a get to know you and get to know their kiddos and do their syllabus, and then there will be a video, an instructional video of the things that we would be going over during assembly. That will be one of those. We go over drills, we go over the student code of conduct, we go over a multitude of things, and one is clubs. However, I can tell you that Megan Beard is the head of it, and they could email or go by her room, and that's what it would be, is she'll have a sign up out there. And then they'll do, the day the club meets, there'll be announcements and emails sent on where to go and what time if you want to be a part of the club. So it's advertised, you just show up.
Okay, thank you. What is the temperature requirement to be considered a fever? It's 100. Technically it's 100.4, but it's 100. If a student was to go to the nurse for a headache or something simple, would they still have to be tested for the virus? So not necessarily. What the symptoms actually show or say, it's if it's a symptom that is not common to that person. So let's say, for instance, it's very typical that someone has, you know, sinus headaches or something like that. Again, that's something that the nurse is going to check out and consult with the doctor. Now, it may not necessarily be the doctor visit like we talked about. It could be, it might not have to be, but they would talk to the student and ask them all kinds of things. Let's say, a kid had been out at the athletic period and it's, still warm outside and they've been running around and they get a headache. Well, that's probably because of heat and dehydration. They would let the child cool off, get water, check them again later, that kind of thing. So this is going to be a very individualized process. And again, that's why we are just so fortunate to have the nurses that we have that have many, many years of experience. And of course, most of them know the kids already and they kind of know their history. So that's just going to depend on a case by case. But now, will they have to be isolated while this is all being determined? Yes, because that is a symptom. That's why we have an isolation room. And then that would be determined. But again, it also could be, they might have to go home because they have a symptom. But then again, if a nurse or a doctor can determine that it's because of something not COVID related, or if you do choose to have a test, that's your choice. If it's still undetermined and there's just no way to determine it, then they would not be able to come back to school unless they either did the 14 days or they had a test. But again, if you give permission, then the test could be administered at school. And by the way, so the cost for the med pod for a visit, a doctor's visit, that would be according to what kind of insurance you have. So it very likely could be free, or it could be your copay. It would just depend on your insurance or whether you have it or not, or your family income. What about for distance students? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Remote learners.
Okay, but I don't know, referring to what about distance students? I'm sorry, I don't.
So while you're clarifying that, on the registration forms, there is also a place to put information about your child's, like a medical history. And sometimes that's kind of, a parent will put asthma, but not put any other kind of details or something. And there's times that later we'll figure out the kid had a history of seizures, but it didn't get on there or something like that. The more you can put on that form, the medical form, that will also allow us to look at, is this normal or is this not for this kid? This kid always get migraines? We'll put it down. Kid always gets migraines.
And so the clarification was, so for remote students who want to sign up for a club, let's say drama or something like that, how would they do that?
Well, if you're a remote learner, I think is the question right there.
Yes.
There might be some clubs that you could be involved in, but a lot of the clubs are going to be on campus only.
And that's not because we're not allowing it, it's just because of the nature of the club, depending on what the requirements. I mean, it's hard to participate in a play if you're not able to be on campus. It's not that we're denying them the option, it's just that obviously it would be difficult so it would have to depend on what extracurricular activity you're in.
The robotics club, they build a robot. If you're not a part of the team to build the robot, but you might be a good programmer. I don't know. But I think you have to program actually on the computer here in order for it to talk to the robot.
So those would just be determined by each individual sponsor, for things like that. Okay, so what is the purpose of the shield except that it protects your eyes and that's it? Well, like my shield it all comes down here. And as I said, we have some for adults and students. Now, I will say it is certainly, it is the most protection if you wear a mask under a shield. However, that is not a requirement from TEA. And so like what we're suggesting, particularly for teachers, so just like right now, you can still see me, see my smile, my lips and that kind of thing. But then if, while they are not actually instructing, then they would probably either add a mask or they would switch to a mask. So, that would just depend. It may be because I got over here quickly and my thing came unattached because it actually hooks over like this. But when I lost my power, I was grabbing what I could to get over here. So I actually am not put together completely properly right now. So that's a little better right there. Okay, what about kids or staff that have no insurance? What is the cost? I mean, I can't say for 100% certainty, but I don't believe that there is a cost. But you know, that's determined actually by the Parker County Hospital District, not by us. I heard that I could still go to the club practices even if we were distance learning. And would we go about signing up for the club? So this is similar to what we just answered. So we would have to talk to that club sponsor, and certainly anything that we're able to work out, we will try to do that. But I just, you know, we can't speak for, I don't know, gosh, how many clubs do you have on campus, Miss Addison? 20 or something. So it would just be really hard for us to make a blanket statement or determination on that. And I mean, we are, as a school district, allowing students who are remote learning to participate in extracurricular activities. It's just that there might be, you know, some extracurricular activities that would be very difficult to do remotely.
Most clubs also meet during the day, and so they would not be allowed on campus if they're a remote student during the day. However, some clubs meet, they may not meet during the school day. Or they may, because I don't know exactly what club they're talking about, but the only remote learner that can come on campus during class time and during that school day time is the athletics, the welding, and the band, electrical.
And it could be something like, let's say it's, I don't know, just student council or something, you know, so it could also be Zoomed for the remote
book club.
Right.
We had book club, but that teacher retired. So if another teacher takes it over and it continues,
so that could be
that's one
done remotely, right? Okay, we're getting close to time, but we want to stay as long as you have questions. So are there any other questions? We just want to thank everyone for your time, for your patience, and your understanding that this changes every day, but we are doing the best we can to keep you updated. And so whether it's remote or whether it's in person, we just can't wait to see our Bulldogs. And, you know, I enjoy even the remote learning like we had in the spring. I would pop in on some of the classes on Zoom just so I could still see the kids. And so however it's going to be, we're excited about it. So thank you all so very much for being with us tonight. If you continue to have questions, then staff, of course, they're back on campus at this point. You can call, you can email, we have questions corner. So you just let us know how we can help you, and we want to support you. Thank you so much. You want to go say it, Miss Addison?
Go Dogs!
There you go.